And this one's probably a little bit worse because at least with Solyndra, they just took the money, they cut and run, they declared bankruptcy and left. Now they're out there scamming people, scamming old people, scaring young people into believing that they're all going to die if they don't buy solar panels, which of course is par for the course. But either way, this is what the Green Initiative is all about every single time. What is up? My name is Eric. This channel is called Report and Opine. I am back. This, of course, is the epicenter for all of your current and captivating coastal elite chaos. So please hit that subscribe button, like the video, ring the notification bell, leave a comment or two, share this with a friend. Let's go. Not even a full 24 hours ago, Solyndra popped into my head for some reason. I'm not even sure why. I was just remembering some scams of days gone by, and there are lots of them. But pretty much as soon as I finished highlighting that vintage Obama-era green energy solar scam, I see this story, and maybe it's coincidence or the algorithm, or maybe they've been running these types of scams for at least the past 15 years. And this is a newer Biden administration green energy solar initiative scam or whatever, Sunnova. And from what I could gather, it looks like after they got their government funding, they bought and sold a bunch of cut rate cheap Chinese solar panels rather than just declaring bankruptcy. But the solar panels were paid for by many people who could not afford them. And the loans couldn't really default because they were backed by the government because, of course, green energy.
It's like subprime mortgages for solar panels. And the best part, if the solar customers default, the solar company gets bailed out by you, the taxpayer. A Sunnova executive who was a theater major in college thinks it's a great deal, and why shouldn't she?
This guarantee basically has the government serve as a credit backstop and say that you can now serve lower credit score customers. And we will take the first loss on any defaults. And so our investors say, great, this is a good way to get customers. We don't have to take so much risk on defaults.
So they take on no risk and get paid on the front or back end.
From Fox Business, solar company cons elderly man with dementia in billion-dollar scheme, victim's daughter claims.
Democrats have been telling us for years that solar is the future. They say it's sustainable, reliable, cost-effective. But a lot of times it's just a big ripoff. Lots of companies are fly-by-night operations, just dumping faulty products on unsuspecting victims, which I guess includes the federal government. Because this spring, Joe Biden gave a huge contract to a solar company that many people are now calling a scam.
Yeah, and this makes perfect sense, right? Whenever they scream so loud, oh, stop driving your car, go green, gas stoves, all of this, every time they're screaming as loud as humanly possible, it's really sinister. Same thing, obviously, with the Transformer agenda, right? They're screaming, oh, bigot, equality, all of these buzzwords that make no sense, but the louder they scream, the more sinister the cause is, and here I am just sitting and complaining about every single thing, which I guess is better than sitting down and ignoring every single thing.
That company is called Sunnova, and the Better Business Bureau gave them a F rating for using deceptive sales practices. Normally, you wouldn't really reward bad behavior, but the Biden administration just handed the company $3 billion.
And there you go. So all the way back in 2009, Solyndra got $535 million. Fast forward 12 or so years, and now they're getting billions of dollars with a B. Makes perfect sense.
Billion of your money. The laundry list of complaints against Sunnova is long. They've been repeatedly accused of predatory lending. One woman told reporters that a Sunnova solicitor sold her dying father a $60,000 solar system for his mobile home. Another person said their blind, deaf, and bedridden grandmother signed a 25-year contract, $86,000, 3 months before she died. Even though their customers die, their loans don't pass away. They get passed down to their families who have to settle the bill.
And then the money will eventually go to Ukraine.
And it's not just old people. Sunnova's targeting poor people, too.
But if you're a part of a disadvantaged community, you could get as much as 40 to 60% off that cost. So it really addresses those that are less fortunate.
Look at this sandbagger. What a scam artist. Well, if you're part of a less fortunate community, as I sit here in my ivory tower, we're going to give you some free solar panels.
Life that really need to be able to have the same access to the technologies that the rest of us have.
Yeah, the poor people need to have the same access to the technology that we have. It's so despicable. The classic soft bigotry of low expectation, right? Like, they don't even know how to get on the internet. They can't get a car. They don't have solar. I mean, but then at the same time, they're going to put these windmills and solar panels and these electric, these farms or whatever into these downtrodden neighborhoods. And then at the end of that, claim that, well, these are affecting the communities of color more. I mean, they're talking out both sides of their mouths constantly.
Yeah, poor people definitely need solar panels. Absolutely agree. That's the company's president, John Berger. He used to work for Enron.
Classic. He used to work for Enron. So everybody knows Enron for cutting and running and ruining a bunch of people's lives, but I think they were also involved in the rolling blackouts that got former California Governor Gray Davis recalled. I mean, the laundry list is long of these scams.
And he's buddies with Biden, who recently did him a huge solid, lifting Trump's tariffs on cheap Chinese solar panels. The Biden administration says this would usher in a golden era for solar competition. But all it really did was import shoddy solar panels for our enemy and dump them on bedridden elders suffering from dementia. And for those that are young and healthy, if they can't trick you, they'll just scare you into buying crappy solar panels.
The best thing that you can do as a homeowner is to get solar and battery service on your house as fast as you can. Lock that in for 25 years, because the chances that because of the global war, when you look at what's happening in Ukraine or the climate change.
Great booking, CNN.
Yeah, so they basically just booked this guy to sell his solar panels. It wasn't a news segment at all. It was an advertisement, and of course, as we know, it's always life and death. Oh, the global, oh, the war is all around the corner. You better get solar panels, cost you $60,000.
Global war? That sounds like a threat to me. We reached out to Sunnova for comment. We haven't heard anything back yet, but our next guest says her 86-year-old father with dementia was tricked into buying a 25-year, $34,000 solar lease. Terry Blythe joins us now. Terry, first of all, I'm so sorry about your father. How was Sunnova able to take advantage of him?
Basically, my parents lived in a small neighborhood in Mesquite, Texas, and the houses are very, very small, and most of them aren't in great shape. My parents' house was in very poor shape, and apparently one night about 3 years ago, a guy went door to door and pressured them into signing a contract that night.
I mean, just taking full advantage, right? Like, anybody in their 30s, 40s, 50s could see right through this, I'd assume, but he's taking advantage of these old people that, still think it's maybe 1970 or something. I'm not sure. No shade, but it's like, it's very obvious, like, the predator-prey dynamic that happened here in this transaction.
I guess he told them that they wouldn't be out any out-of-pocket up front and that they would come out a lot better. Well, it turned out to be a 25-year lease, which is, by the way, a lot worse than a sell. You don't even get the tax credit. Sunnova does. It turned out to be a lease.
A 25-year lease for a man who's probably in his 80s?
They were paying monthly bills to Sunnova of about $176, and they still had electric bills of about $40 or $50. So I did the math.
Yeah.
And actually, they would have been better off looking at it to have just paid their regular electric bill.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Are you going to take any action against this company? Because I can think of a few things: predatory lending, elder abuse, fraud.
We would love to, but we don't really have the funds to do that. We don't.
And they know that. They know that. They're going to prey on these people who they are betting their bottom dollar on the idea that these people are not going to have the resources to stand up to these shenanigans, to put it nicely.
Have the money to do that. I mean, first of all, from the sale of the house, which I had to do because my parents both got really sick, and they had to move to a senior living facility early this year. The loss from not getting that money, not only my mother's still alive, is hurting her, but we can't get an attorney either because of how much it would cost. And Sunnova they took their money. So,
well, if any lawyer is watching and wants to take this case pro bono, it's a slam dunk. We've invited the CEO on Jesse Watters Primetime. Anything you'd like to say to Joe Biden, since he gave this company $3 billion to go screw around with good Americans?
It's sickening. I'm heartbroken that they would do this, that they wouldn't investigate these companies before they're rewarded. It's like somebody went to my house and they robbed my parents, and now they're getting billions of dollars for being criminals.
Well, there you have it. The green energy economy of the future that I just talked about. They created it. Now we're living it. The scams evolve, the money increases. All the way back in 2009, it was $535 million. And then fast forward to 2021 or 2022, whenever they got this kickback from President Biden, it's $3 billion. And this one's probably a little bit worse because at least with Solyndra, they just took the money, they cut and run, they declared bankruptcy and left. Now they're out there scamming people, scamming old people, scaring young people into believing that they're all going to die if they don't buy solar panels, which of course is par for the course. But either way, this is what the Green Initiative is all about every single time.